Welcome everyone to the first official StarForce 66 podcast. We have our guest for this episode, Christian. If you'd like to say hi, you can.
Hello.
Hello there. Okay. So, let's go ahead and get right into the podcast. How does that sound? Go ahead.
Sounds great.
Sounds great. All right, good. So, let's start off by talking about what's most popular with Star Wars at the moment. It's probably going to be for the next few weeks with the Mandalorian. How have you been liking that so far?
I feel like the Mandalorian is not only one of Disney's first live action shows, but definitely the best. They did start it off on such a great note, especially with this last episode, including Ahsoka, bringing a animated character to life, especially such a beloved character. So I've been really happy with what Dave Filoni's been doing, and how well of a series this turned out to be.
Yeah, I completely agree. I did not know what it was going to be like at first when I heard of the Mandalorian. I was just like, okay, is this going to be a Boba Fett or whatever?
Yeah, that's kind of the way I was. It was it was confusing to start with.
Yeah, I kind of was right because we did see Boba Fett.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is going to happen with him with Boba Fett?
I have a feeling he may come in towards the end of season 2, because we do know that Mando or Din still has his armor, and we know that Boba did see him in on Tatooine in the first episode. So
Yep.
We know that Boba knows that Mando has his armor. So
I don't know if he wants his armor though.
But he may not want his armor. I do think that Boba will meet up with Mando maybe in the next few episodes.
Or season 3 maybe.
Or season 3. They may have a longer story plot planned for him, which will be exciting to see as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I remember season 1, episode 5. Do you think that was Boba that we saw him at the end with his boots and everything? Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember that episode.
Season 1, episode 5. It was when Mandalorian first went to Tatooine. It was
yeah. No, I can't remember that episode enough to know if that was Boba. It very well could have been, considering he was on Tatooine in season 2, episode 1. He may have never left the planet, or who knows, he could have been tracking Mando throughout the entire series and we just never noticed. So
I think he was just like, he could have been disguising himself as a it's a Jawa. He was disguising himself, not a Jawa, no, Tusken Raider.
Yeah, he could have.
I don't think he could have disguised himself.
He could have been the one Mando was talking to.
True. And then all of a sudden he just takes his armor and starts running off.
Yeah, that would be funny.
Yeah, that would be. Okay. In the last episode, we saw Baby Yoda, and we saw the name reveal of its actual name. Do you like that name, Grogu?
At first I thought it was an odd name, but when you think back, there's a lot of odd and weird names in the Star Wars movies.
Definitely.
But as you hear them said, and especially the fact when you hear Mando use it, it sounded a bit awkward. But as it's been used more, especially in videos made by other YouTubers, as well as just in everyday conversation with anyone, if you're talking about the movies or TV series, it kind of grows on you. So
it Grogu's on you.
It Grogu's on you. But no, I like the name because it's not a title anymore. It makes him more of a him more of a person, more of a main character.
They were gonna have to name him eventually. You can't. He has to have a name. Everybody.
He couldn't have been called the Child for
just
ever.
I didn't like the name the Child. That's why I called him.
I think everyone calls him Baby Yoda.
Yeah, I think they will for like a few more a while until they get used to the name Grogu, probably.
Yeah.
So there's been 5 episodes so far of season 2. Do you have a particular favorite, or do you find them all equal, or so far?
This last one with Ahsoka has definitely been my favorite, especially how much it ties in the Clone Wars into the Clone Wars and Rebels into live action, with the name drop of Thrawn at the end.
Oh man, I was
so excited for that. Once I heard that name, I was just ecstatic. I couldn't believe that they had dropped that name there.
Especially maybe seeing him in live action, like for like a not in the Mandalorian, but maybe having his own show. That would be awesome if they were to do that.
Yeah, but also the Easter eggs that tied back to earlier episodes in the Clone Wars. It really connects Mandalorian to the entirety of Star Wars. So it definitely has been my favorite episode so far.
Yeah, I think I would have to say the same. There's been a lot of good ones, but probably never. One of my favorite parts is when she talked about, when she says, "I've seen what fear or attachment can do to a fully trained Jedi Knight." Remember when she said that?
In reference to Anakin Skywalker, her master during the Clone Wars. It was that
was one of my favorite parts.
That was a great part.
Yeah, and then just describing how what happened to Baby Yoda. Who do you think took him from the Jedi Temple when he was young?
So I feel like the best theory so far is that Jocasta Nu took him. And for anyone who doesn't know, Jocasta Nu is the librarian, who is also a Jedi, but her sole purpose was just to help Jedi find information about star systems or
books,
access anything. So essentially a librarian.
We saw her in the episode 2 of the Attack of the Clones. Did we see her in that?
Yeah. She was helping Obi-Wan
find Kamino.
Kamino, yeah.
Yes. And a few episodes of the Clone Wars as well.
Yeah. I think she may have hidden him away because of the fact of that would have been great character development in the aspect that it would put her as more of a caretaker for the younglings, because
she was with a young she was, I remember in the fan, and why do I keep on saying that, in Attack of the Clones she was with a boy, I believe. I don't remember.
She obviously had a hand in training, so I feel like that helps to develop the aspect of her being a instructor. So I'm kind of leaning towards the fact it was her who took Grogu.
Could have been, could have been. Who I think it could be is, you're probably not going to agree with me, but it could have been Palpatine. You probably don't agree with me, but when she says that, when Ahsoka says, then his memory leads dark. Who do you think of when Grogu's memory would lead dark?
It definitely could be that. It could be Palpatine, but I wouldn't also be surprised if it was Anakin, because he may have found Grogu when he went through and killed all the younglings.
True, and then maybe he was,
and so maybe, I mean, it could be still Palpatine, because maybe Anakin took him to Palpatine, or I guess I should say Vader. He wasn't Anakin anymore at that point.
Yeah.
When Vader may have taken Grogu.
Well, actually, I have a
Palpatine.
video. I have a video scheduled coming soon about when did Anakin truly become Darth Vader. It's gonna come out later this week, so.
I look forward to that then.
Yeah. I like it, and it's a pretty interesting point. It's just my opinion. I'm not saying anybody's wrong, but it could have been Anakin, because Yoda and Anakin were friends. They never really got they really weren't enemies, or like him and Mace Windu. I mean, no, they weren't enemies, just like weren't best of friends, I should say.
No.
So now at the end of the episode 5, Ahsoka says to go to this Jedi temple on Tython, to, and then Grogu, baby Grogu, will, choose his own path. So before we talk about a little bit of Tython, if you want to, do you think we could possibly see a Jedi pop up here on Tython?
I definitely think we could see a Jedi pop up. I mean, we definitely know at this time Luke is still alive. He's
I want
definitely strong in the Force. But we don't know very many Jedi who survived after Return of the Jedi, so it would be interesting to see someone else. But I do also think it would be interesting because we know that if Grogu does reach out in the Force and a Jedi senses him, Palpatine or a Sith will definitely sense him as well. So
that's true.
There could definitely be a fight on Tython for Grogu if he does choose to reach out through the Force.
Yeah, I remember Moff Gideon has the tracker on Mando's ship. So.
Oh yeah. That would definitely be interesting to see if Moff Gideon shows up on Tython.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But so I'm trying to think right now how many Jedi that we know for sure are still alive, because Ahsoka says not many are left. But before
we can definitely confirm that Ahsoka is alive and
yeah,
Luke.
of course, yeah. And Luke.
Ezra Bridger might be alive.
We don't know for sure.
We don't know for sure due to the fact
since
of
Thrawn.
Since the name drop of Thrawn, there is the possibility that Ezra is still alive.
Yeah, I would probably say about 80%, if I had to guess. 80% he's alive.
I mean, I can't wait for the sequel to the Rebel series to see what happens with this, especially considering I believe it's scheduled to start in 2022.
Oh, that's a while.
I think. I'm not for sure. Don't quote me on that.
So we get Bad Batch before?
I believe so. I do believe we get the Bad Batch series before the sequel to Rebels.
Okay.
Yeah. So Ezra may be alive, but we definitely know Luke and Ahsoka is alive.
Mm-hmm.
We know that a lot of Jedi are still present in the Force, but only as Force ghosts.
Yeah.
But there could be maybe a Jedi who played a minor role in the prequel trilogy that could show up in The Mandalorian. So it would be pretty cool to see.
Quinlan Voss, maybe.
Yeah, it would.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. He may have become an Inquisitor for all we know.
Yeah.
But it would definitely be interesting to see who would show up.
Oh, or Cal Kestis. If you know that, do you know that is?
Yeah. Jedi Fallen Order.
Yep, I think he's still alive.
Yeah, that would definitely be interesting if he showed up as well.
Yep.
That would definitely really connect the Fallen Order video game to the universe, Star Wars universe, which I think would be great.
Yeah, more people would probably play that too. So, do you think before we move on to the next topic, do you think Ahsoka knows Luke? Do you think she knows that Luke turned Anakin back to the light? Or turned Vader?
I don't know, in the aspect that we don't know if Ahsoka, I don't know why I just said Ahsoka, Ahsoka ever met Luke. She may have no idea who Luke Skywalker is, most likely due to the fact that she may have never known that Anakin had children.
But wouldn't she feel that through the Force, though, right?
Well, she may feel the presence of Anakin returning to the Force, and Anakin may have talked to her. They may have come to terms on some of their issues.
I want to see that if that happened.
That would definitely be interesting if that was the case, because we know that Obi-Wan showed himself to Luke to help him finish his training. So Anakin may have showed himself to his former Padawan to just check in on her or maybe even to
Just
apologize.
Just check in, like, hey,
Just check
what's
in.
up? How's it going? Oh
That
my
would be
gosh.
hilarious. That would be some great dialogue if
Yeah.
that was the case. But it's an interesting question in the fact there's so many unknowns that to try and come up with a theory is it can be pretty wild in what you could come up with.
Yeah, there's so many that I don't think we have enough time for. But we can always do another one.
Yeah.
Another podcast. So in conclusion, Mandalorian it's awesome. Can't wait to see coming episodes, coming seasons. I think they're already working on season 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited for the fact that it's been cleared to have a season 3 and I think a season 4.
I think it's good because he's going to be wearing, he wears a mask most of the time at home.
Oh yeah, Mando is the only one who's COVID free, so
yeah.
coronavirus can't infect Beskar. Because I mean, if a lightsaber can't, why would Corona?
Exactly. So, yeah, Mandalorian is it's awesome. So now we're gonna go take it like a little backtrack. I should say. How did you first get into Star Wars?
So I don't exactly remember when I got into Star Wars. I remember just watching it with my dad when I was a lot younger. Just enjoying the show, enjoying the time I spent with my dad, watching the show, and then any chance I'd get if I saw it on TV, I'd watch it. If I was just wanting to watch a movie, I'd put Star Wars in sometimes. So,
same.
So just kind of that exposure through my parents, just because my dad really liked the movies. So as far back as I could remember, I've kind of always known about Star Wars.
Yeah. That's a good story.
It's a trap.
Oh, that's not a good. Yeah, I got to work on my soundboard, like knowing how to do it at the right time. I never can find the perfect time for it. So now we know there's different. I don't know. I should say different types, but different storylines of, like, they separate each one to like 3 different movies. What would you say is
different trilogies? Yeah,
trilogies. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. What would you say is your favorite if you had to choose? If you just wanted to watch 3, right off the bat, if you had time to, would you say originals, sequels, or prequels?
Definitely either the prequels or the originals. I'm not hating on the sequels. I just like the story of the originals better, especially
me too.
The fact that the originals happen in such a short time period as opposed to the prequels. So
yeah, I wish we saw more like between episode 1 and 2.
Yeah, especially episode 1 and 2. I mean, 10 years of story between episode 1 and 2.
Yeah, I wanted to make a fan film actually between episode 1 and 2, just me being Anakin, but my dad does not have a good British accent, so he couldn't do it one.
Man, what a letdown. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, definitely the originals would be my favorite.
Originals, okay, yeah, I would. It would be tough for me to decide, but if I had to decide, I would probably say prequels. They're both awesome. I like them a lot. So, did you actually hear about George Lucas, his sequels that he was going to make? I read an article about it.
The fact that he actually had movies planned after Return of the Jedi. Yeah, so I have heard about that. I've heard that he actually had a whole 12 movie saga planned.
Yep. We only got
4 trilogies. It would have been great if George Lucas had went through with that. I feel like we would have
canon.
I feel like George Lucas would have brought in a whole lot more in Legends and would have created some great stories to take place after Return of the Jedi, especially considering there's so much that happens following that movie.
Yes, there really is. There's so much. because like not most, I shouldn't say most, but I'm looking actually for what it was about, but I don't think for some reason I can never find it.
I don't think there was any plots made. I don't know if he came up with any stories.
There wasn't really like a plot. There's like it's just like it says it starts out a few years after Return of the Jedi, and we establish pretty quickly that there's this underworld, and stormtroopers start their own planets, and Luke is trying to restart the Jedi. He puts the word out, so out of 100,000 Jedi, maybe 50 or 100 are left, and the Jedi have to grow from scratch. So Luke has to find 2 and 3-year-olds and train them. It'll be 20 years before you have a new generation of Jedi.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I would definitely be excited for that to take place, especially considering how close that ties into Star Wars Legends.
Yeah.
And the fact of Luke restarting the council, starting from scratch and creating the temple again and a Jedi order. So I felt like if George Lucas went ahead and continued to do so, I feel like that would have been some great movies.
Yeah. I mean, I think it still could happen. I think it still could happen because
there is a possibility, considering
it wasn't much after Return of the Jedi, and I mean, even if it's animated, although that would be kind of weird seeing a whole trilogy animated.
Animated trilogy takes place after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, they would have to have some good animation,
good voice actors.
Oh yeah, definitely. So the main topic that I wanted to talk about today, we're gonna make a video on this too. I don't know when, but just like a little shorter version of it, because it's the podcast and there's not really editing. It's just us talking about Star Wars. So wanted to talk about some lightsaber forms. Is that okay?
Yeah, that works for me.
Yeah. And I believe there was about how many?
So there's 7 forms.
Main forms, yeah.
Yeah, 7 main forms. Each Jedi, after they reached a certain point, were then allowed to go on to master that form, or to combine that form with other forms to make their own unique fighting style. So like I said, there's 7 forms, but because of the fact that they were allowed to create their own, there is several thousand unique combinations that someone could come up with.
Yeah. Now, you want to start off with 7 or 1?
Let's start off with 1. 7 has a lot of information that I'd like to cover, so
me too.
Form 1 is pretty basic. So Form 1 is
you're the specialist. You're gonna be our at StarForce 66. You're gonna be our lightsaber specialist.
Lightsaber and force weaponry. No, I'm just holocrons and everything. No, I'm just kidding.
From Coruscant. So you're on Coruscant right now, aren't you?
I'm the male. I am the male version of Jocasta Nu.
Oh yeah, you are. Wait, no, you don't have good internet. That's why you have That's why you don't have your camera on. You're on Tatooine right now, aren't you?
Yeah,
because this.
My hyperdrive broke down.
Oh, so
that's what I get traveling with smugglers.
Okay, yeah. Me and Vader are chilling at Palpatine's headquarters right now. So
nice.
Yeah, that's why.
Tell him hi for me. We're great friends.
Oh yeah. Well, he's been looking at you the entire time.
Oh yeah. So
Form 1.
Form 1 is also called Shi-Cho. This was the first form taught to any Jedi. They were taught when they were younglings. So when they first came into to the Jedi Order, this provided basic knowledge of sword fighting principles and blast deflection. This was a form that was required for them to go on to learn the other forms, and it was important in the fact that it taught them to rely on their senses. The best example of this is in A New Hope, when Obi-Wan is training Luke Skywalker in this first form on the Millennium Falcon. We see this when he has the training droid shooting blaster bolts at I guess they're not blaster bolts, but let's just call them training bolts at Luke Skywalker while he's blindfolded. So he was actually teaching him Form 1 and how to rely on his senses.
Yeah. It's a good one to start off with. And isn't it the oldest one as well?
It's the first one, so it's the oldest, and it is the basics and foundation for all the other forms.
Okay, yes. And I believe it was most recommended for defense, not like in combat, but just in defense of defending yourself.
Yeah, so this was definitely taught to it was the basics for blaster deflection, defense against another lightsaber. It was an overall form is
Okay.
the best way to describe it.
Yes. And now, who were like some of the main characters that used Form 1?
I can't think of any off the top of my head, but we can definitely see Form 1 in all of the movies at some different points. Like I mentioned, Luke, but
Yeah.
in the prequels, when we see Obi-Wan walk into the room in Attack of the Clones to ask Yoda about the location of Kamino, we see Yoda training a group of younglings in Form 1. This is something that was taught to anyone and everyone as they were learning how to use the lightsaber. It's a pretty common form.
Yeah. I believe I think was it Kit Fisto? I believe was one of the main Jedi. I'm not sure. It might have been. I'm not 100% sure. I gotta do some more research on like who used them and all. But
yeah, I'm not too for sure about who was masters on certain forms. I do know that
I think Luke was the main one, I believe.
Yoda was a master of one of the later forms. We'll get into in here in just a sec. But
okay.
So the next form.
Well, actually, wasn't Yoda and Luke? I think they both used Form 1.
No, Yoda used Form. Give me just.
We're getting to it later. We'll get
to it later.
Okay, now Form 2.
Form 2 is also called Makashi. So this was a form that was centered specifically on lightsaber dueling. It was developed in the older times and the beginning times of the Jedi when they were to come in contact with dark Jedi quite often. So it was developed off of the focus of protecting one's lightsaber. So it was taken from an aspect of Form 1. So it focused on, it required precision, and it was used wide sweeping movements. So as I said, since it was dueling centric, it required a lot of space, and usually a master of Form 2 were very, very hard to defeat. I do think Kit Fisto is a prime example of a master of Form 2.
Okay.
As we can see in the Clone Wars when he fights General Grievous. Form 2 is definitely used when fighting multiple enemies, and that is why Kit Fisto was able to defeat General Grievous so easily.
Okay. Oh yeah, in the Clone Wars, isn't that right?
In the Clone Wars, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Just to confirm, I believe didn't Count Dooku also use this form?
I believe so. But Count Dooku was such a skilled duelist. I also wouldn't be surprised if he combined Form 2 with a couple other forms.
True. He was remember, he was the apprentice of Darth Sidious, so.
And Yoda when he was in the Jedi Order. So he definitely would have been a very skilled lightsaber duelist.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Thanks for covering Form 2. Here we go. Now, Form 3. Now, let me try to pronounce this one. All right. Ceriso. Ceriso.
Yeah, so Form 3, Ceriso. So like you said,
Okay, good.
this is based on the aspect of Form 1 on blaster deflection. So this was to counter blaster wielding opponents, so droids, as well as clones, as well as it was strictly a defensive form in the aspect it required tight and precise movements and was held close to the body to provide maximum coverage to deflect blaster bolts.
Okay. And Obi-Wan, I believe he was the master of this, and he actually was able to move to block any strike and able to move less than 20 hits per second, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I do believe Obi-Wan was a master of Form 3, so a very defensive form in which any master of Form 3 would have been very difficult to defeat if they were on defense.
This is Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. I cannot.
That was pretty good.
This is Jedi Master Obi-Wan. No, that was not good. I don't think it was.
The first one was better.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so Form 3, super basic, super defensive.
Mhm.
Form 4,
Probably used by
very, yes, mainly used by Jedi. Form 4, also called Ataru, is very different to Form 3. In fact, the complete opposite. Form 4 is a very aggressive form of combat. It relies heavily on force powers such as strength and speed. They were usually always on the offense and would attack with wide, fast, and powerful swings. As I mentioned, they were constantly using the force to aid them in battles. This was the form in which Master Yoda was a master in. Due to his old age, he was able to use the force to overcome his physical limitations to battle. This is the best example of this is in Attack of the Clones, in which Yoda comes to the rescue of Obi-Wan and Anakin in their duel against Count Dooku. As we see, Yoda was able to hop all over the place, as well as being able to attack ferociously against Count Dooku. So Form 4 is definitely a very aggressive and offensive lightsaber form.
Yeah, and Qui-Gon, what's the new one?
I believe Qui-Gon, I believe was more of a master of Form 3. But because he was, I'm not for sure about Qui-Gon just because of how little he fought in the Phantom Menace.
The reason I'm thinking Qui-Gon is because I think this form, it could leave yourself open to an attack if you're like not quick enough. And Qui-Gon, it was pretty old in the Phantom Menace. Not pretty old, it's 50s.
Well, the last form in which we'll talk about, Form 7, is what Darth Maul used. So we can talk about that battle at the end.
Okay. Yeah, sure. That'd be great. And also, I believe this requires lots of knowledge in the Force to use Form 4. And
yeah, in the aspect of being able to use the Force to overcome one's physical limitations, to rely heavily on the Force and to jump and to be quick.
Yeah.
So
like
so like Yoda, for how old he was, as well as the fact of because of his age, he was able to become extremely strong in the Force, which allowed him to be a master of this form.
That's great. Form 5, Xian and the Jimso, right?
Yes. So Form 5 was created was created by the Form 3 masters. So if you remember,
Okay.
Form 3 was designed to be defensive against blaster bolts. It was very tight with subtle movements to protect oneself. So Form 5 was those who wanted the defensive style of Form 3, but wanted a little more offensive style added to it. Because of the fact Form 3 was so defensive, it would cause duels to go on for a long time, which could be dangerous to both duelists. So Form 5 was created to kind of speed that along. Form 5 requires a higher level of physical strength because it focuses on a complete domination of their opponent. It is it's a combination of Form 3 along with the aggressive style of Form 2. So Form 5 was specifically created to combine some other forms.
Nice. And wasn't also the Way of the Crate Dragon? I believe that was another reference for Form 5. Because I remember reading an article.
Yes,
about
I believe so as well. So
and
yeah,
it's pretty cool how we saw the Crate Dragon in the Mandalorian too. The pearl, you remember that? And that can also formalize. You can also, if you don't have a kyber crystal, you can make a lightsaber out of that too.
Yeah, out of the pearl from the Crate Dragon. Yes.
Yeah, and Anakin, is he one that used
to? I would not be surprised if Anakin was a master of Form 5. If not,
that's what I'm thinking.
Because Form 5 is a combination of defense and offense. If we look back to the prequels, Anakin was never one to do a lot of jumping.
Yeah.
And so we obviously know he wasn't a master of Form 4 or Form 3. So most likely he would have been a master of Form 5.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Form 6 is I'll let you say it this time.
Form 6 is also called Nyman. So Nyman was actually named after a Jedi. So the style was so Form 6 was created back in the time of the Old Republic. So this was back when there was a lot of Sith and a lot of Jedi. Very different philosophies in the Force, different groups within the Sith, as well as different groups in the Jedi. So this style was adopted by a group of Darksiders responsible for the first great schism of the Jedi Order. So this would have been towards the beginning of the Jedi history and towards the beginning of the dispute between the Jedi and the Sith. So Daimon was a Jedi who refined this form and to defeat these. So Form 6 is a balance of all forms of lightsaber combat. It combines Form 1, Form 3, Form 4, and Form 5. Because Form 5 was a combination of previous forms, it was also pretty solid form, but Form 6 took it to, I guess you could say, a higher level because it was based off of several defensive and offensive forms. So it was definitely focused on balance of defense and offense, as well as not requiring so much of the Force. It was
force-based.
It was combat. Less intense. Yeah. Okay. So Form 7. So this one.
7. I think we know the most about Form 7, if I had to guess.
Form 7 is definitely a form that has a lot of information, and the fact Form 7 is not used by Jedi. Form 7 is specifically used by Sith or dark side users. Because of the darkness of Form 7, it was typically preferred to be used by Sith Lords. So
Typically, there was
typically
a Jedi
which is
that I know.
so Form 7 is called Jujo, but there is a variant of Form 7 called Vapad. So Vapad I'll discuss right after this. So
Okay.
Jujo, it was used by the Sith because it fed off of one's dark side emotions, so anger, hate, and pain. And because the Jedi believed to not have anger and not to be hate and to try and let go of pain, this was something that, if used by a Jedi, it very often resulted in them turning to the dark side. It is a very powerful form in the aspect it is very much like Form 4, in which it is unpredictable as well as extremely powerful, and the user is very chaotic as well as erratic and puts a heavy focus on offense. So in episode 1, Darth Maul was immediately identified because of his lightsaber form. Since no other Jedi practices Form 7 and is used by Sith, as soon as Darth Maul had attacked Qui-Gon, he instantly knew that he was a Sith Lord, which led to the fact of Qui-Gon dying in the end. Because this was a form that was not used by the Jedi, and the Sith hadn't been around for at least 1,000 years, it was very rare, and they wouldn't have known how to defend against it. So even if Qui-Gon was a master of any of these forms, due to the fact of his inexperience against this form, he ended up dying. And so as we see, Obi-Wan, of course, overcame this and channeled himself and focused and eventually killed Darth Maul. So as you mentioned, there was a Jedi who used Jujo. This was actually Mace Windu. So Mace Windu created a variant of Jujo.
What if Mace Windu fought Darth Maul? Who do you think would win?
I believe Mace Windu, and the reason is because Mace Windu's variant does not use his own dark side emotions. He actually uses the emotions of the person he is fighting. So this usually only works if he is fighting a Sith or someone who has a lot of dark side emotions, which is actually why Mace Windu was able to overcome Palpatine at the end of Return of the Jedi, because he was using his own dark side emotions to fuel Mace Windu's fighting style. So Mace Windu has described Vapad as more than just a fighting style. To him, it is a state of mind that leads him through the penumbra of the dark side. The reason why Jujo is so dangerous is it requires the user to be to enjoy the fight, which of course we know the Jedi don't want to enjoy the violence, as they are the protectors of the Force and of life,
of peace.
Of peace. So
we shall have peace. That sounded.
That was I don't know how to describe that.
We shall have peace. Okay.
All right. Thank you for the much needed interruption. So
sorry,
Mace Windu.
I can't help myself.
Oh no, it was great. It was needed. So Vapad required the user to enjoy the fight and relish the victory. So a practitioner of Vapad, they would have to accept the fury of their opponent. So if you think to physics in the aspect of a superconductor, and the fact it requires you to be to transfer power, and although you're not producing the power, to be able to conduct a great amount of energy through yourself without having to without risking falling to the dark side.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a form that was not typically used by the Jedi. Mace Windu had tried teaching this to certain students, and even those students, even though they were specifically selected by Mace Windu, who he felt met his standards, I believe eventually fell to the dark side. So it shows how treacherous of a form this is, and
as well as
that
how
is
strong
why.
Mace Windu was.
Yeah, so
hold
Mace
it.
Windu was one of the most powerful Jedi, and for him to be the sole practitioner and master of this form shows the degree of balance that he has to have.
Yeah.
So it is a very, very dangerous form, and so if Maul was, or if Mace was to go up against Maul, I feel like Mace Windu would definitely win. The aspect it uses the user's
Especially when-
emotions against them.
Yeah, especially when he almost beat Palpatine.
Yeah, especially considering he almost beat Palpatine, and then
Yeah.
Anakin had to come in and just ruin everything.
Yeah. Do you think he survived that? Right there, when he fell.
To be honest, I'm not for sure, because we know that due to the Force, a lot of people are able to survive different injuries, but due to the fact Mace Windu was not able to defend himself, he lost his hand, he lost his lightsaber, he was just pushed out of a building several stories above
being electrocuted.
the floor of Coruscant, as well as being electrocuted by Force lightning. So if he didn't die right away, I wouldn't be surprised if he died soon after.
Or I mean, so Yoda could have just like ran right into him with the ship.
Of course, yeah. Of course, we have no idea what Yoda did. We know Yoda did meet up with Palpatine, but that was after that duel. So Mace Windu could have very well been rescued by someone else. It could have been Bail Organa. It could have been Obi-Wan. It could have been Yoda.
Could have been, lots of.
It could have been very different.
Or Jocasta Nu.
Or Jocasta Nu. So it would be. I definitely think it would be interesting if he was still alive, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if he is dead.
Okay. Yeah, me too. Okay, so thank you. Before we move on to our Jedi Council questionnaire, what do you think is your favorite form that we talked about? Like, if you were a Jedi, or whoever you want to be, which form would you want to? Which form would you think you would use?
If I were to be a Jedi, I would most likely use Form 5 or Form 6, just due to the fact of the balance of all the other forms. I probably wouldn't use Form 7 in the aspect of how easily you may be able to fall to the dark side.
Yeah.
How dangerous a form it is.
Imagine if Anakin used that form, or was taught that form.
There's actually a story. I believe Star Wars Theory made a video about this. Obi-Wan actually wanted to be a master of Form 7, or Mace Windu's variant of Vapad. But Qui-Gon, being such a great master, actually advised Obi-Wan not to. We know Obi-Wan was very much like Anakin in that time period when they were a Padawan. They were very ambitious, very rebellious, and if Qui-Gon had allowed Obi-Wan to practice that form, I wouldn't be surprised if Obi-Wan fell to the dark side due to the power of that form.
Yeah, there very little people could probably do what Mace Windu did with his lightsaber form.
Mm-hmm. Form 4 or Form 5.
Okay.
Or Form 5 or Form 6. I'm sorry.
That's cool.
I would probably
do.
What you have learned, what form would you choose?
From what we've learned today, I would probably use. I don't think I would begin with one, of course, form one, and I would probably use form three. Form three.
Well, I also forgot about the fact that you are able to create your own unique style based off of a form. So would you be a master of just form 3, or would you combine other forms, or would you create your own unique style?
Just to be balanced with some. I may create, or yeah, I'm more of a creator. I like to create things. So I probably would create my own and start a form 8.
Form 8. Form 4-1.
Form 66.
Form 66. Yeah, there you go.
Gosh. Okay. Well, I think that about does it with our lightsaber combat discussion. You had some great knowledge that you shared with us today as our lightsaber dual specialist. But you have been called up to the Jedi Council, and they want to ask you 5 questions. Each member of the Jedi Council wants to ask you 5 questions, but they're all the same question. Okay. Are you good with that?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. The first question, the Jedi Council.
I have one question beforehand. Are you going to say it in each council member's voice? Like, are you going to ask one question in Yoda's voice? You should try.
All right. I'll do this one in. You name the Jedi Master. I'll do the voice. How about that?
Okay. Mace Windu.
Who or what is your favorite Star Wars character?
So my favorite Star Wars character would be Luke Skywalker. After Return of the Jedi, because Luke would have devoted himself to restoring the Jedi Order, and therefore would become very powerful in the Force. Like his father, he was very quick to solve a conflict with a duel, but was also like Obi-Wan in the aspect would also try to find a peaceful solution. So Luke Skywalker is definitely my favorite in the fact he restarted the Jedi Order all by himself.
Yeah. I would definitely say Luke for Legends for me. And in canon, I actually might say Anakin. I don't know. Anakin or R2D2, actually. I like R2D2. He's been around for it all. Do you like him?
R2D2 or Anakin?
If I had to choose Anakin, because I'm a person. I mean,
I don't know. I feel like I'd choose R2D2 just because of the sass that
I like creates. Anakin in the Clone Wars. I don't know why. I just do. I don't know.
I like Anakin in Revenge of the Sith because I feel like he's
going through a lot.
Well, he was going through a lot, but I feel like he was expressing things that had been on others' minds, but he was the only one who was willing to say it.
Yeah, I agree. And like near the end of Clone Wars, probably.
I feel like the reason why I like him better in Revenge of the Sith is because I feel like in Clone Wars he wasn't his own. Of course, when he wasn't in the presence of Obi-Wan, he did speak his mind, but in comparison to Anakin in Episode 1 and Episode 3, I feel like Anakin was more of a yes man kind of character in Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Well, thank you for your input. So now, who do you want to ask this next question?
Okay, I want to hear you try and do Yoda.
Yoda. Star Wars? No. Hold on. Okay. Star Wars. No. Sometimes I can do his voice. All right, hold on 1 second. I gotta hear how he talks real quick. So I need to hear how he talks first, like so I can get his voice in my head. Just looking up Yoda talking. Hopefully it works. Jedi Master What is your favorite? Who's Star Wars character your least favorite? You see, good. With 900 years, I can't do it. I can't do it at all.
Least favorite Star Wars character. I feel like my least favorite Star Wars character is probably C-3PO. Because the fact of he always was in the way.
Yeah.
He really never served a purpose. He was more of just like annoyance.
A guide.
The reason I didn't say Jar Jar, I know a lot of people would have said Jar Jar right off the bat, but I am a full supporter that Jar Jar was a Sith Lord, and because of the fact he was a Sith Lord and George Lucas never went ahead with that, I can't put Jar Jar as my least favorite character because he was never given a fair chance to have a great character.
Exactly.
So with that being said, the reason I choose C-3PO is pretty much the same reason anyone would choose Jar Jar. C-3PO was annoying, and he never really served a purpose, but at the same time, he was a big source of comedic relief. So that would be the only reason why.
He was funny for some part, yeah. You there?
Yeah.
Okay. So if I had to guess my least favorite, I would say Zero the Hutt.
Zero the Hutt.
He or she, it's probably he. It's he.
I think it is.
It's so annoying. I mean, I just don't like how he talks at all.
See, I actually kind of like Zero, not because of his voice, but just because
you think it's funny.
I think he's hilarious. I feel like he is hilarious in the fact he's a crime lord, but is absolutely terrified of Jabba.
Yeah.
But to be fair, if Jabba the Hutt was your uncle, you'd have great reason to be terrified too. But Zero actually did come up with some stuff that was pretty cool. So I feel like he is.
I just don't like hearing him talk. Like every time I hear
his voice is annoying.
My dad's favorite character. My dad's new favorite character is Mama the Hutt.
Mama the Hutt.
You remember who that was?
Oh, was that one of the Hutt Council members?
It was Jabba's mom, I believe, and no, Jabba's grandma and Zero's mom, I believe.
No, I don't remember that.
She's the biggest Hutt. Let's look up Mama the Hutt, and she's the biggest Hutt, and that's the reason why my dad likes her. I don't know why at all. But okay, Jedi Council wants to move on. They did not approve of your answer. I'm joking. They approved. They don't like C-3PO either.
Oh, I remember Mama the Hutt now. Yeah. No, I definitely like her just because she's hilarious.
Yeah, I like her.
In fact, all she does is she's in that house, and yet everyone is absolutely terrified of her. So, especially Zero. But I mean, if that's your mama, no, everyone's afraid of Mama when you've done something wrong. So
yeah. Alrighty. So who's gonna ask the next one?
Okay. I really want to hear you do a British accent, so Obi-Wan Kenobi.
What Star Wars moment always makes you smile or laugh out loud?
So for some reason, in any time in which a clone trooper or a stormtrooper is falls off or gets thrown off or something, and just the scream they make. The fact it's used for every single one and that it doesn't change is absolutely
Is it
hilarious.
Something in the armor that makes them?
No, it's their actual sound. It's actually what they say, but the thing is it's just absolutely hilarious. So that is definitely my favorite or most hilarious thing I find in Star Wars.
Yeah, Obi-Wan agrees with you.
Thank you, Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Master Kenobi.
You're welcome. Hello there. No, I'm doing the old one.
Oh, Sir Alec Guinness.
Yeah, I can't do. I do Alec Guinness a lot better than Ewan McGregor. Oh
I
my
feel like
god.
you do too.
Hello there. Come in, Madison Finn. No.
Yeah, that was a lot better.
Yeah. This is the young one. Ready? Hello there. No, I can't do.
No, your older, your Ben Kenobi impression is a lot better.
Yeah. I don't know why I sound more like an old man than a young person. Gosh, I can do old people better than young people apparently. All right, friend. Let me try one more time with hello there. Got to get ready. Oh no. Wait a second. Well, here, keep on talking about a funny moment, another funny moment. While I
Okay.
find this.
Another funny
All right,
moment.
never mind. I got
Oh,
it.
did you find it?
Well, no, I'm
Well, that
just
was
trying to
quick.
get my mind in hello there moment. All right, ready? This is Obi-Wan.
Go for it.
Hello there. Hello there.
Was
Are
that
you
good?
gonna do it?
I just did it.
No, you didn't. That's your soundboard.
That was me, obviously. I'm joking. All right.
General
Hello there.
Okay, that was pretty good.
Okay.
I think it helped the fact you played it beforehand, so you kind
Yeah.
of knew what.
Like
you
when
needed to sound like.
listen to something and then like try to imitate that, I can like do it a lot better. All right, who's next?
Let's see. Who else has a unique voice on the council?
Don't do it again.
Master Plo Koon.
Oh no. Okay. What Star Wars scene a moment always makes you sad?
Always makes me sad, huh? Probably. There's actually quite a few. So one of them is at the end of Return of the Jedi when Darth Vader dies. Of course, Anakin comes back to the light side, and saves his son. But just the fact of he spent his entire life, or half of his life, as a Sith Lord, and then he saves his son and dies. So the fact he was cheated out of the opportunity to actually spend time with his son, getting to train his son.
All that, man.
And I just kind of feel like Anakin was cheated out there at the end.
Yeah.
But definitely one of the other saddest moments in Star Wars is when Kanan Jarrus dies in Rebels, as well as when Darth Maul dies in Rebels. The reason why
I don't know why they made that sad.
The reason why. Oh, okay. So Dave Filoni talked about this. So Dave Filoni explained that why Maul's death was so tragic was because Maul was so bent on revenge, and Obi-Wan had evolved past having a rivalry with Maul, and that Obi-Wan felt bad for Maul and the fact of all he cared about was revenge, and that he never had the opportunity to do what he would have wanted. And so the fact that Darth Maul's dying breath was talking about how he got his revenge against Palpatine through Luke Skywalker is just kind of sad, in the fact of he was also cheated out of the fact of having any other choices. So that is actually one of the reasons why Darth Maul is is such a tragic character, in the fact of he was forced into being a Sith. Of course, he may have made that decision as a younger person, but in the fact he wasn't given a second chance, or hadn't been given a second chance to change, I feel like that is pretty sad.
Yeah. It definitely is. One of my what I think is the saddest part, it's kind of weird but sad, is when it's in the Clone Wars when Fives dies, and just knowing the meaning of what he could have done and how he could have exposed Palpatine and his plans.
Yeah, so any dealings with clones, especially Fives and Heavy and Echo.
Heavy, Echo,
The fact you were given such a chance to connect with them as the character, and then for them to die, really is really kind of sad, especially considering all of them were good characters, and the fact that they weren't too aggressive, they weren't too they were very balanced in all aspects of what makes a character so great, especially Fives. And so I can totally agree that that is definitely a sad moment.
Yeah. Oh, well, okay. So let's get on to another topic here.
Yeah, move away from the sadness, please.
Yeah. One more question. This is one more question. Who's going to say it on the Jedi Council?
Do Ki-Adi Mundi.
Ki-Adi Mundi. Okay. I'll do it in two because it's the last one. I'll do Ki-Adi Mundi and Anakin only because I want to try.
All right, really do it. Okay.
Okay.
You really want to do Anakin. So.
Yeah. This is Ki-Adi Mundi. All right. Oh no. Let me think in my head how he sounds. Okay.
He sounds pretty British.
Yeah. Your favorite
it's
Star
more like
Wars movie?
There you go.
And then it's Anakin. What is your favorite Star Wars movie?
Wow, your Anakin impression was very good. So
Star
Wars
need to say something
movie
else with Anakin. Yeah, favorite Star Wars movie. This is StarForce 66. No. What? That
you sounded
like
you were about to like bust a rap out or something.
I know.
Maybe you should rap at the end of the podcast for our sign out. Yeah, you should do that.
That would be really weird. I want
a Star Wars rap.
Gosh. Okay.
So favorite movie or just like favorite TV series or
movie? Let's go to
movie.
And you can only choose the sequels. I'm joking.
Oh, the sequels? Well, if that's the case, it's got to be Rise of the Jedi.
Rise of the Jedi. I'm joking. You don't have to do the sequel.
No. My favorite all-time Star Wars movie. See, that's hard to decide because I like Revenge of the Sith and Empire Strikes Back. So, I have to say, just because I really like the graphics of 80s movies, I'm gonna have to go with Empire Strikes Back.
Nice. That's a good answer. It's a very popular movie. And if I had to choose, I would say Revenge of the Sith. Just because right so much stuff happening.
But we both share it. And since I said Empire Strikes Back, you can say Revenge of the Sith.
Well, I actually do like Revenge of the Sith. That's my favorite.
No, I do too. I'm just saying because I couldn't say both. I had to say one. So.
True. Yeah. Okay. Well, that will do it at the Jedi Council. The Jedi Council thanks you for answering their questions. And next time you come back, they will plan more questions for you. And I'll ask Yoda.
Is it my Jedi Knight Trials?
Yeah, you are now promoted to a Padawan.
Woohoo! Are you my master?
Yes, I am. No, Mace Windu is your master.
Man, I passed the Padawan trials first try, and I get Mace Windu as a master.
Yeah,
this is awesome.
Oops. Okay, that was.
Oh, were you gonna play the song from Return of the Jedi in Jabba's palace as our outro?
I was thinking throughout this entire thing what I should do, and I came down to a bunch, and I came down to this, but I don't want to do it. I don't want to do that, but this is all right. Well, I'll make another outro when I edit this, so everybody will hear it. But that is going to do it for this podcast. Any concluding statements you'd like to bring out?
I just want to say it's been fun talking about this, and I look forward to coming back on in the future to talk about other subjects with my master. So
I'm Mace Windu.
I definitely look forward to coming back.
Great, that's great, and you may hear his voice sooner than later in perhaps an upcoming video that you may enjoy. Okay, I don't want to give any spoilers for anything.
Yeah, no spoilers.
No spoilers. All right, well, thank you once again. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I can't wait to talk to you again soon. on the podcast. StarForce 66 Radio.